Hey, welcome back. I'm Ashley Sweeney, your registered dietitian. As you know, I'm also a mom of 3, and I'll be sharing more information about gut health and gut testing, so make sure you're subscribed to hear more. But today's topic is really important to me because I think our gut health is so foundational, and while it's a trendy topic, it has a lot of rooted science and why it's so important. It's so much more than just constipation in kids or diarrhea. It's so much more than feeling bloated. Our gut health is connected to our immune system, our mood, our feelings, and so much more. And so when we can help improve our gut health for ourselves and for our kids, I believe that we can set up our families for a healthier success and a healthier life. And so today we're going to talk about 10 things that might be harming the gut health of your family, and we're going to talk about a few ways that you can improve your healthy habits around gut health. First up is ultra-processed foods. Now you know what that is, right? It's the candy, the cake, the cupcakes, the Doritos, the chips, the foods that are highly salty, extra sweet, the things that are so unnatural. There's no way it would ever be formed in nature. And while we might eat some processed foods here and there, the ultra-processed foods are related and have been connected in research to disrupting the gut microbiome. So it's easier said than done than removing processed foods, but sometimes when you know why you're doing it with the intention, it makes it easier to slowly scale back in those foods and those offerings for your family. Number 2, too much sugar. I mean, unfortunately, we know that's true, right? And sometimes we can't avoid it, but when we are giving too much sugar, it feeds the yeast, it can feed overgrowth of bacteria and the pathogenic bacteria. It's been linked to inflammation and the tight junctions in the gut wall, which can contribute to more intestinal permeability, meaning leaky gut. But those things over time contribute to worsening gut health. Number 3 is stress. Chronic stress, acute stress, short-term stress. Now we think that stuff doesn't faze our kids, but it does, unfortunately. And over time, that chronic stress causes a cascade of effects with your stress hormones. And then what it does is it also affects your gut. That nervous tummy, that butterflies in your tummy, over time, can contribute to gut health symptoms. Number 4 is common medications. Now, antibiotics have a time and a place, but unfortunately some people have overused them and felt like there was no other options, and I get that, but there are things you can do after antibiotics usage to help improve that gut microbiome again. Constant use of pain relievers can reduce the gut lining, and acid blockers can reduce stomach acid, which can impair digestion and the microbial balance. Number 5 is infections. So think salmonella, think norovirus, different bugs that come through the house, whether it's coming from school or somewhere else. But long term, those things can create inflammation and damage the intestinal lining, leaving it vulnerable. Number 6 is environmental toxins. Now, I don't really like the word toxins because it can relate to an assortment of chemicals, which is impacting our endocrine system from the outside, which are things like our hormones, and especially our young children who are still growing and being exposed to a lot of these environmental toxins and chemicals. Things from BPA, heavy metals, and fragrances, cleaning supplies, outside chemicals that they're exposed to, pollution. Some of that we have no control over. However, we do have control over what happens inside of our home to a certain extent. And so this is where I like to highlight things like your cleaning products and candles and things that may be contributing to their environmental toxic load. Number 7 is caffeine and alcohol. As a self-proclaimed coffee addict, I am very conscious of this because high amounts of caffeine can disrupt the stomach acid levels and they can disrupt the balance of the gut microbiome. Alcohol as well. Alcohol might contribute to inflammation and increased gut permeability. It also disrupts that level of bacteria where it favors the bacteria that are pathogenic, that are not doing any good, and decreases and worsens the bacteria that we want to be thriving in our gut. Number 8 is nutrient deficiencies. So if our diet is high in highly processed foods and we're not getting real whole foods, things like zinc, glutamine, vitamin D, magnesium, things that are essential for gut microbiome health, then we could be harming our gut health even more. Number 9 is poor sleep and lack of movement. Sleep is an essential time for our bodies to repair, especially for little humans as well. Regular movement doesn't have to be full-blown crazy workouts, but helps improve digestion as well as that gut-brain connection and that nervous system connection between the gut and the brain. Lastly is when somebody's only taking probiotics and not prebiotics. And what I found is that people keep trying to take more probiotics, hoping to solve all their gut health problems, when in reality, you're not actually feeding any of the good bugs what they actually need, which is what prebiotics are. Prebiotics feed the probiotics. Hopefully that doesn't seem too doom and gloom and like your whole diet and your whole family is doomed. Now, part 2 here is I'm going to talk about 10 things that you can do to improve your healthy habits at home, and some things I think are actually pretty doable. First is to load up on fiber. Fiber in itself is a prebiotic. It's going to feed those bacteria in your gut. They're going to contain short-chain fatty acids, and it's going to contribute to the population of the growth of the bacteria that we want inside of our guts. Now, doesn't have to be full-on fiber supplements. With kids especially, it's things like apples with the skin on, other fruits and veggies with the peels, things that will contribute to bulking up their stool as well and improving digestion, but also feeding the population of the good bacteria. That's fiber. So important. Number 2 is probiotics and prebiotics. Now, probiotics come naturally in foods, which is where I would recommend you get started before you taking supplements. Yogurts, kefir, kimchi, miso, all of those foods and more have regular sources and natural sources of probiotics, meaning they've been fermented in some way and that there is some level of bacteria naturally occurring from that fermentation process. Now, prebiotics, again, will feed those probiotics, and that's adding some specific stuff along with the fiber, things like garlic, leeks, slightly unripe bananas are a really great source of prebiotics. So there's some things you can add to your family's routine intentionally to help get the right bacteria to feed the probiotics inside your gut. Number 3 is simple, staying hydrated. And now we don't need to be like going crazy where we're carrying water every 24/7, but water and hydration and being hydrated at a cellular level, including electrolytes or minerals, can help with digestion and help with keeping things running smoothly through the entire system, as well as nutrient absorption. Number 4 is to cut out irritants. So those highly processed foods that are going to harm your gut microbiome, that are going to trigger the gut lining to have tiny little tears and contribute to more leaky gut. Getting those things under control sooner rather than later in your family's healthy habits is going to be so key. Again, we know that the ultra-processed foods also reduce the bacteria level, the good bacteria levels. They contribute to inflammation. They don't provide fiber your microbiome needs. And they're also going to lower your short-chain fatty acids, which are key compounds that heal and protect the gut lining. When we don't get enough fiber, our gut microbiome, the overall quality reduces. And so instead of having a wide variety of microbes, we have a less variety of them. And we want a population that's more like a jungle with a diverse ecosystem instead of having just one strain of probiotic or one strain of gut bacteria that is because you're taking supplements. So if we're eating a variety of fruits, veggies, beans, grains, seeds, nuts, all those things with high fiber, then we're going to contribute to a rich ecosystem supporting our gut health. Number 5 is stress. Now, I can't say enough, as a dietitian, I wish you would increase your whole foods and reduce ultra-processed foods. But in reality, our stress is so connected to our gut health and that our longevity is so much more than what we eat. And for me to say that means a lot, I think, coming from a dietitian. So if you have stress and stress that is not being dealt with, and especially if your kid doesn't know how to handle their stress, I would highly encourage you to deal with that first. That gut-brain connection and the vagus nerve connection. When your brain is highly stressed and can't signal to your brain to do its digestion properly, then there's a problem. Number 6 is sleep. I also think that this is so important because our bodies need that time to repair. And without it and without quality sleep, your body and your digestive system doesn't have a chance to reset. Number 7 is movement. You can have dance parties, go for bike rides together, play together, but more movement, less sitting, important for our little humans and ourselves. Number 8 is testing. So when I do GI testing on patients, I'm usually using gut testing called the GI map. And what this is an at-home stool test. And what this does is gives us a sample at your digestion, how well you are actually digesting. Is there fat in the stool that shouldn't be there? Is blood in the stool? How is your intestinal inflammation looking? And then it'll also show us levels of bacteria, microbes, pathogenic, the good types of bacteria that we want, the ones we don't want, yeast, parasites, things like that will give us an insight, a little snapshot to what's going on in your gut based on what your stool looks like And then we can supplement from there based on whatever symptoms you're having. So a lot of times I use natural antimicrobials to gently kill off the bacteria that have overgrown. And we do some gut lining support, healing the gut lining to kind of heal up those tight junctions. A lot of, sometimes some glutamine, some marshmallow, some extract, aloe extract, different supplements that we might use based on what works with you and works with each patient. And also maybe some digestive support. Number 9 is to use those supplements wisely. So instead of just taking probiotics, you understand now that just popping probiotics is not going to get to the root of fixing any gut health you've got going on. And in fact, if you're just continuously taking the same type of probiotic or just varying different probiotics, you might just be increasing those specific strains in that specific population of that specific bug without getting rid of the ones that are overgrowing and getting rid of the weeds essentially. And so you might have a garden of some pretty flowers, but the weeds have overgrown and you need to get rid of the weeds so that those can really flourish. So sometimes I see people taking supplements willy-nilly and they don't really have a plan and a plan to get off them, because I don't believe in taking supplements forever. Short-term usage, direct to the point, and getting you to feel better. Lastly is reducing toxins. And we talked about why this is so important, but slow baby steps over time, cleaning out your kitchen with toxic ingredients and your household ingredients, especially things like fragrances and chemicals, can really go a long way with your kids' health. Lastly, to talk about real quick is just the gut sharing and the microbes that are shared between family members, right? We're all using the same water bottle, or we're tasting each other's foods. We give each other kisses goodnight. So that means we swap bacteria. And while this is good in some ways, what this also means is that we may all have some level of some dysbiosis that's coming out and expressing itself differently based on the individual. So one kid in your family might have some eczema, some rashes, some hives popping up. Well, the other might be having like this just constant nasal drip, brain fog, headaches. We all express things differently. And so sometimes as a family unit, I don't think enough practitioners are looking at what's happening in the family as a whole. And that's all how that's connected to our gut health and how every person is expressing things differently with something going on there. So I want you just to remember that as you go forward, maybe do some testing. Maybe you're taking some supplements and you think about as a family what's going on and how we're all connected with our gut microbes. All right, so our current lifestyle sets us up for failure, for our gut health to just be doomed, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can make some of the changes that I talked about, gradually implement some of the things, and make changes. Help your family feel better, help their immune system boost, help everybody thrive, everybody have regular poops, and be feeling their best. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you're subscribed so you can get more information on gut health, and I'll talk to you in the next video.